first thing we need to know is a little bit of vocabulary. So in a fraction, you have some number on top. Let's just use 2/3 as an example. There's a number up top called the numerator. Exactly. And then the bottom number is called the denominator. If you are going to add or subtract fractions, you have to have the same denominator. So let's put a big old star. If you add
I'm behind.
or subtract, it's okay.
No, I'm behind.
That's also true. Not really behind.
Miss, you're supposed to give us the you said you would give us the edited, the new ones. Friday.
Oh, your grades, you're right. Deno.
No. We're doing notes. No.
Okay, so this is, guys, the most important thing to remember. I can't tell you how many kids try and add and subtract fractions that do not have common denominators.
It's all across the globe.
All across the globe. And then, to make it to compound issues, guys, listen, this is only for adding and subtracting fractions. If you're multiplying or dividing, you don't have to have common denominators. But for adding and subtracting, you do. So we're going to do some examples where we already have common denominators, so you know how to handle those, and then some where you don't. Okay, so I'm just going to write some step-by-steps.
Wait, I'm behind.
That's okay. I'm not moving it out of frame yet.
You didn't give me notes.
Yeah, we'll give you a copy.
Wait, Miss Brady is.
Yes, I'm here.
You gonna give me a note?
Yes, absolutely.
If you already have common denominators, we call those like fractions. So if you already have that, like you're going to in the example I'm going to give you in a second, you're just going to add or subtract the numerators you're going to keep the same denominator. And then you're just going to check to see if you need to reduce. I'm going to stop right there so everybody can catch up. Because that's it. Those are your steps if you already have common denominators. Let's try an example. Let's say I wanted you to add together, I don't know, how about 4/7 plus 1/7? If they already have the same denominators, you're good to go. All you have to do are these 3 steps. So I have like fractions, common denominators already there. I'm just going to add or subtract the numerators. Well, this is an addition problem, so I'm going to add them. So 4 plus 1 is just 5. And then what's my denominator? 7. It says keep the same denominator. You do not ever turn it into a 14. Ever, ever, ever. It's like you're saying, I have 4 of these things, plus 1 more of these things gives me 5 total of these things. If you have 4 apples and 1 apple, you have 5 apples. You don't have apples squared or something weird. You just keep the denominators the same. You have 4 of these things, 1 of these things, so that's 5 of these things altogether.
It's not that hard to make square
Hi.
Octavia.
Yeah,
Sorry to bother you.
it's all right. You're on
Question
video.
for you.
That's
I'm on
fine.
video?
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, just your voice.
If you have angle 1 plus angle 1 is 180, if I go 2 times the measure of angle 1 is 180, what's my reason for that?
I just say simplify.
That's what I say.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
no problem.
It's geometry.
Let's do another example. Say I had, I don't know, how about 8/9 minus 2/9? Yeah, I have common denominators, so all I have to do is the math along the numerators. So, what do I get? Am I done? No. Remember step 3, reduce if needed. We didn't need to reduce the last one because nothing reduces 5 and 7. But this time, I can reduce 6/9 to become 2/3. You always, ladies, gentlemen, listen. The directions do not, listen carefully, the directions do not have to say that you need to reduce. It is assumed from now until forever. So if you get an answer of 6/9, it is automatically assumed that you reduce it to 2/3. If you don't, you're going to start losing points on tests and quizzes. So always get in the habit of reducing a fraction. That's different than changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. So let's do one more example just so I can clarify that. Say you did this. Say you did, I don't know, how about 3/10 plus, I don't know.
Consider Mrs. Avia.
I'll be right with them. Let's do 9/10. What would 3/10 plus 9/10 get you? 12/10. You do not need to turn that into a mixed number, but you do have to reduce it. So what number divides into both 12 and 10?
It's 1/5.
I don't want to go mixed numbers. Go ahead. Yeah, 6/5. Yeah, right? Reduced by 2. Here's the thing, guys. I don't care if you leave your answer as 6/5 or if you turn it into a mixed number. If you want to turn it into a mixed number, you can. But I would actually tell you to kind of avoid it. Because you could make an error now. This is the right answer. You can, but what if you make a mistake in turning it from improper to a mixed number? It's right, just like that. You can leave it. You don't have to give me mixed numbers. You can, just make sure they're right. So, is this old news? Have you all done with fractions before? Okay. Okay, great. So then, when we go to add or subtract, unlike fractions, you all know what to do. Oops. So, I'm going to give you some step-by-steps first, and then we'll do some examples. So, step 1, you need to determine do you remember what LCD stands for?
Least common denominator.
Yes! LCD. Least common denominator. In other words, denominator. What's the smallest number that both of your denominators divide into? And then you're going to multiply one or both fractions by the number needed to get common denominators. And that's it. Once you have that, then you do it just the same exact way that because now you've established like fractions. And now you just do exactly what you did up here. So that'll actually be my step 3. Add or subtract. Don't worry, we'll give you a copy.
You didn't know.
That's okay then, just pay attention to it.
Okay, let's try some examples where we don't have common denominators. Let's start off easy. Say I want to do 1/4 plus 2/5. 4 and 5 are not the same, right? So I need to look at them and ask myself, what's the smallest number that both 4 and 5 divide into? 20. So, what will I have to multiply 4 by to get to 20?
5.
Now, I guess I didn't make this very clear in the words, but you should always multiply by 5 over 5. Why? What's 5 over 5 actually? 1. That's how I'm not changing the value of 1/4. If I multiply a number by 1, isn't it still that number?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just changing this into an equivalent fraction that I can use. What will I have to multiply 5 by to get to 20? 4. So I multiply by 4 over 4. So now when I do the math, right, you just multiply straight across. So this is 5/20. Isn't that the same thing as 1/4, 5/20? 5/20, 1/4, same thing? Yeah, but now look at this side. I get 8/20. Now there's the magic. I have common denominators now. So now I can add just like we were talking about doing. So 5/20 and 8/20 ends up getting me 13/20. Can that answer be reduced?
No.
So that's it.
Number.
Let's do one more example, and then we'll finish. Let's do something like 2/3 minus 5/6. You can just put it on the desk here, Ben.
I don't keep them. Oh, wait, we don't. We just,
Yeah. Sam, what am I gonna do? What'd you say? Oh, I have no idea what the answer is yet. I don't have common denominators. What is the smallest number that both 3 and 6 can divide into? 6. So I need to multiply this one by 2 over 2. So I actually get 4/6 minus 5/6. So my final answer is? -1/6 is correct. Hooray!